Live. Welcome back to Central Valley Talk, where we celebrate what's good about Fresno, what's good about the Valley, and we keep you up to date with things that are going on. There's so many things going on that you don't even know about. There's a conference coming up this weekend, Crisis in the Classrooms, and whether you are familiar or happy with what's going on in your classroom, or if you're unhappy with what's going on in your classroom, I just want you to know about this conference. I think it's important for a lot of people to know about and hopefully get involved in. I've invited the leaders of the conference, or people putting on the conference, or somehow they're involved with it. And I don't think I'm going to try to say each of their names because they were a little hard for me. First of all, my friend Sandy Tarosian, you're here sometimes.
Yes.
And Pastor, you're here sometimes too. Tell me how you say your name now.
Ka'ole Lapono, Pastor Marty, Christ-Driven Assembly of God in Selma.
I can call you Pastor Marty?
Please do.
And then behind you is another pastor.
Yes, hello. Pastor Kealoha, Ka'ole Lapono.
Okay. And by the way, welcome. I'm very pleased to have you here because some crazy things going on in our schools, not just the schools, the school boards, the National Education, Department of Education, all kinds of stuff going on. I think most people have no idea. Even with kids in school, I think they have no idea.
Right.
So I'll just turn it over to you guys. Tell me what's going on. Tell me about the conference and how people could get involved.
Well, the conference is being put on by several churches in Selma. It will be this Saturday from 9 to 12 a.m. at Valley Life Community Church. I'm excited about it because I believe that churches, for the most part, have been silent and have been, it's non-existent in the issues that are going on in our schools, and that's why our school system and our country is where we're at today. So we have some excellent speakers that are going to be there. We're going to have a 6-person Q&A panel. So very much looking forward to it.
And who can go?
Anybody is welcome. It's
Teachers
free.
can go. Parents can go.
Absolutely.
Old guys like me without kids in the schools anymore can go.
Yep. Yep. Everyone is welcome.
Tell us who some of the speakers will be.
Do you want me to?
Well, we have Dran Reese, national speaker, and then we have Jim Doman, has a wonderful ministry and works a lot with all of our pastors here in the state of California. He has a grouping of pastors statewide and that he works with, and so it's going to be a wonderful time. They're going to be, again, it's open to everybody. We're looking to start making people more aware of what's happening from CRT to all of the
Comprehensive sexuality education.
all of that stuff, and we want to make people aware and alternatives and options that they will have. And so it's going to be a great conference, Mike, so it'll be a wonderful time.
Tell me about, I haven't heard some of these terms that I've heard about on the news a lot lately. I have no idea what they're talking about. Some race theory, something this, something
Critical
that.
race theory. We'll be addressing that. We'll be addressing comprehensive sexuality education. I'm hoping Common Core. There's a lot of things. I do want to add to something that he said about Jim Doman.
I've heard of Jim Doman.
Pastor Jim Doman. He's actually the founder of Church United, and the word he uses is he wants to disrupt pastors and unite the churches in California. Because, again,
I said parents should attend, teachers should attend, pastors should attend.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
Our pastors need to be
From all over the
Pastors
valley,
have been
all
too
over the
silent in the pulpit too long, and people that know me know that I'm not silent in the pulpit. Our country needs change, and if we look through historically, the change has always come through men that are willing to square their shoulders and stand behind a pulpit and speak the truth and what in righteousness. And so we want to shine a light in see, here's the problem. A lot of our parents don't know a lot of what's going on in their schools.
Right.
Yeah.
And we want to make options or an opportunity. Maybe Kealoha can address this, that we saw this, my wife and I, whenever they were kindergarten and first grade, just some of the things. I remember the day that they came home and they said, Dad, what's this word mean? And they weren't using it, and I said, where did you hear that from? And it says, and this is kindergarten. And they said, some of the kids say these words. And we knew the writing was on the wall for us. And they were in a good school system. But we knew then as a parents, I couldn't control what they were hearing from other children. And I thought, so we went into a homeschooling situation, and we were scared to death. My wife and I were scared to death to do this. And that's what the problem is. A lot of people think that it's fearful. And it's actually wasn't fearful once we stepped in. I don't know, Kayla, you may want to speak in that area as a homeschooler and graduating out of Emmanuel.
Please do, yeah.
Absolutely. It was amazing in so many ways, but obviously at that age in kindergarten and second grade when my parents took me out, obviously I didn't understand what was happening. And then realized in the moment that Dad, Mom were trying to save me and my brother's lives from what the school system actually was doing to us. And yes, you get a lot of things from other kids and you get a lot of things from teachers, but personally, I couldn't have asked for anything better than what happened to me and my little brother. We got Bible every day from our pastor and our father. We got math, English, and science from my mother. And people think homeschooling is really difficult and hard. You can make it work no matter who you are. You can make it work with you and your children. You can do this. And my parents did it, and when we came up and we had the maturity, Dad said, hey, you have the maturity, you have the opportunity to go to high school. So we did. First time back in school at a desk, doing homework, doing the whole shebang. And young people looked at us, thought, you're a little strange. He said, you love Jesus so
They
much.
think that's about all homeschoolers.
That you love Jesus so much that you're kind of strange. After the years started passing by, they realized it wasn't something that we were just faking, that it was something real. And the
Now,
parents saved us.
Emmanuel, you went to? Is that in Reedley?
Emmanuel High School in Reedley.
Yeah.
Great school.
Yeah. I won't put anybody on the spot. Who's it harder for homeschool, the parent or the student?
Are you my wife said off camera, so Mom might be able to speak in that a little bit more. But
I think it's a nervousness that
A little nervousness for
that
the,
the adults go through,
Yeah.
but
especially if
there's
you've
too
never
much
done it
stuff
before, yeah.
that's out there to guide you through.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
hey,
material. on that
we were a
one.
little bit apprehensive, Mike.
Yeah.
We were a little bit. We weren't, but that's one of the things I like about.
That was 20 years ago.
I don't know if you know who Kevin Sorbo is. Did all the Hercules stuff and actor in Hollywood. His wife is big behind this, Sam Sorbo, and she's she's in the movie, the documentary, and I think she's in they're going to be in the clip that we're going to show.
Yeah.
But I like what she says in the documentary. She says, when parents are scared, says, just do it. And when you get them out of that or whatever it is, breathe for a little bit.
Yeah.
We did.
Take your time.
Take your time and start, because you got to remember it's homeschooling. It's not a government-ran type of a thing. A lot of people say, our kids, public school. As a pastor, I no longer believe in public school, so I'm going to step outside of everything. I'm going to say this is just my opinion. There's no such thing as a public school anymore. It's federal mandated schools. And the federal government's telling us now what we can do in our schools at the school board level, to where you're silenced continually. And you see this all over the news, where they're having to deal with Attorney General Garland as terrorism, where we've had the FBI put in that. This is, the whole area of that and stuff. Not to be political about this, we want to promote this conference, but that's what it's about, is waking people up to what's happening in the world, in the United States today, with our government, with our school systems.
Crisis in the classrooms. Go ahead, Sandy.
No, what I wanted to say is I think most people believe that the purpose of education is reading, writing, and arithmetic.
That's right.
And up until probably, when the Department of Education was first formed under Jimmy Carter, there was a woman named Charlotte Iserbyt, and she was the senior policy advisor under President Reagan in the Department of Education. And she, because of assignments she was given by the government, documents that she was privy to, she shows in her book, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, that the government's plan was to dumb down children, sideline parents, and restructure our values. There is nothing more obvious now that has happened. California ranks in the bottom 25% in education, so the dumbing down is working.
Yeah. Okay, can we watch this video now?
Yes.
Okay, this is. They said, "Did you watch it?" I watched it 6 times. So it's just fascinating. And we're going to roll it, and then we'll come right back and talk about it a little more. We'll be back Don't go anywhere.
So I got married 4 years ago, and my mother-in-law was working for an organization that was heavily involved in education policy. And she asked me to do some work for her, a few hours. I think she was testing me to see if I was capable. Turns out I was. And she gave me a bunch of reading to do on the history of education, education policy, and how we got where we are today. So the first book was Crimes of the Educators by Sam Blumenfeld and Alex Newman. I honestly didn't believe half of what I read in that book until I went and fact-checked it myself. Because when I first started, it sounded like a conspiracy theory, all this stuff, and I'm like, how did I not know any of this?
The U.S. government has no authority to have any role in education. Any power is not delegated to the U.S. government or reserved for the states or for the people. On that basis alone, it ought to be shut down immediately.
Most politicians, they look at the budgets, they look at the teachers' unions, they don't look at the curriculums.
It's too hard, they decided, to bring the lowest performing kids up because some of those kids don't want to learn. Some of those schools are in bad neighborhoods. So why don't we just have one kind of education that every kid can achieve and then call it equity?
Equity is a nice sounding word, but it doesn't mean the same as equal opportunity. It's about outcomes. It's about trying to force us all to be equal.
If critical race theory is continued to be taught in American schools, I think we're going to have a race civil war in our hands.
Public school is the instituted agency of socialism throughout every state and throughout every community.
They're coming out of school thinking communism and Marxism is cool. So we're going to lose our very republic if we don't stop this indoctrination of children in government schools.
Do we want our students in this country not to know the truth? What happened to us in China can't happen here.
The people can't read and write, don't know their history. They're easily manipulated by unsavory politicians.
Students will continue to see people like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as these leaders.
We are exposing kids to pornography as early as kindergarten, and they're calling it puberty talk. So someone like me, I think, oh, okay, they're going to talk about puberty. Parents just don't know.
It makes me angry. It makes me furious that parents will put up with this. I did it. We showed up. Oh, you got Mrs. Jones. Oh, I heard Mrs. Jones is a really good teacher. And we're just like, yeah, that's great, because everybody else is doing it. No, not anymore. Not anymore. Parents need to wake up. They don't have your interests at heart. They don't have the interests of your child at heart.
And we are going to come back live with our guests. A bunch of us gathered here in our little studio, all crunched in. So the conference is, say the date, because this video will probably run for a month. So say the date. So
Saturday, January 21st from 9 to 12.
And that's this Saturday if you're watching live. Saturday 21st. So what else do you want to add?
I just want parents, grandparents, educators, pastors to know that we want them to leave this conference equipped, empowered, and educated on how to take back control of their children's education.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who believe how you believe, but I hope people show up who don't know. And this is new, and this is a wake-up call for them.
Yes.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes we all preach to the choir, sorry for say it that way, but yeah, we need new people to be in there so they know what's going on really in our world. And I hope this is the beginning and the first, and that this really, you guys probably do it all the time.
No, I think this is actually our
This is the first one that we've kind of organized together, and it's not just a Selma thing. It's Fresno pastors and Clovis and different people from all over the Central Valley. We just are having it there at one of the larger churches in Selma that we can see, you know, at least 800.
Where it is.
It's 3200 3200 McCall Avenue. It's on the corner of McCall and Barbara in Selma. Just get off at Floral exit and come under the freeway and head down to McCall and make a
99
right.
to Floral.
Yep, you'll be there.
But punch in your GPS, 3200, that's at
3200 McCall Avenue, Selma, California.
No, north or south McCall, just 3200 McCall.
There you go.
We're really, really out of time, but I could talk to you guys for hours. Anything else we need to add before we're done?
We will have lots of resources there.
I would say I have one thing. We'll be real quick. The best question I got during a meeting was that someone said, "Did you feel like you missed out on anything?" And I said, "Absolutely not."
You mean being homeschooled?
Yes, because you think you're in just sequestered away, and you're not. I had terrific parents who said, "You're going to learn how to talk to people. We'll go to church. You'll learn how to meet people, introduce yourself." And we went from everything to changing tires and knowing how to do car trouble, how to do your bills, how to do taxes.
How to
you
build
have parents
homes.
willing to teach you, and you don't miss out on anything. So don't worry about that.
They always say we're worried about socialization, but you don't have any socialization skills. Last thoughts? Anybody, Pastor?
I just would say, coming off what he said, we went to another event coming called Hope California. We were in one of the first meetings just Saturday night, and we walked in, and a lot of young people, different people around, and I noticed how everybody was attracted to Kealoha and his wife, because just the way they walked into the room and held themselves.
They carry themselves.
They carried themselves, and yet it was around their peers, and you could tell young people looked at them and went, something special about those guys, just the way they dressed and carried themselves. And they get that through an understanding of respect and character and stuff like that. So, yeah. Hey, it's great being here, though. Thank you for having us.
I'm going to put the poster up again, but it's Saturday. Say it again.
January 21st from 9 to 12.
This Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah.
Unless you're watching in 2 weeks from now. It's this Saturday, January 21st in Selma, 3200 McCall.
3200 McCall Avenue, Selma, California.
What's the name of that church?
It's called Valley Life.
That's a big one.
Yeah, Valley Life.
We'll be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.